Hey scholars, for Nonfiction Character Day, I dressed up as Sonia Delaunay. She was an artist and a fashion designer during the 1920s. Let's read a book about her life.
Sonia Delaunay, A Life of Color by Cara Maines, illustrated by Fatia Ramos. And what we're going to see in this book is we are going to see some of Sonia Delaunay's artworks and what inspired those artworks from all over the world. Charles was looking for his toy horse. He searched behind the chair, under the rug, and in every corner of his room. He reached in the back of his dresser's top drawer and found, tucked in among his socks and trousers, a blanket made of fabric patches of many different colors. It looked familiar. It felt familiar. It even smelled familiar, but he could not remember why. You see what is hidden under his bed? His toy horse he was looking for. Okay, so this is Sonia. Whose blanket is this? Charles asked his mother, Sonia. Sonia was an artist. So was Charles's father, Robert, and many of their friends. It's yours, Sonia replied. I made it when you were just born to keep you warm in your cradle. It reminded me of the patchwork blankets that people made in Ukraine, the place where I was born, far from our home in Paris. So she's just told us two different places. And did any of them say anything about being from the United States? No. So she was born where? In the Ukraine, which is all the way over across the ocean in like the Europe, but closer to Russian area. And then they lived in Paris. Paris is a city in France, which, if you remember, when we talked about her name, was a word in French. So that's where it comes from. Thank you so much to my scholars in Miss Hawkins' class who have their eyes on the screen, who are not sleeping or looking like they're sleeping because their heads are down. But your blanket is special. As I stitched together the little pieces of fabric, I could almost hear the colors singing. Does she really mean she heard it sing? No, let's see what she means. Charles pressed his ear to the blanket. Mama, you must have really good ears because I can't hear anything. Sonia thought a minute. Your ears work just fine, but there are many different ways of listening. Zoom in. This is one of her artworks. Your blanket changed the way I thought about colors, Sonia said. When I listen to them, they tell me what to create. What do they tell you, Mama? Sonia thought again. Why don't we let the colors speak for themselves? She took Charles by the hand. Come with me. So this is one of Sonia Delaunay's artworks that's like in museums. Notice all the colors, and those colors and shapes come from things that she sees. So things that she sees and hears singing to her, and this is how she interprets it as a form of abstract art. And of course, we remember that abstract means not real. So it doesn't really look like the object that she was looking at. Their car roared as it zoomed through the streets of Paris. Charles shrieked with delight as they barreled along, faster and faster. Suddenly, the car lifted into the air. This would be no ordinary trip. Over the noise of the engine, he yelled, "Where are we going?" "Close your eyes," Sonia advised, "and follow the sounds of the colors." Notice how her car is designed to look just like the colors that she has in her paintings and the shapes. When Charles opened his eyes, he was surrounded by bright lights and music and people dancing. He couldn't help himself. He tapped his feet and clapped his hands. This is La Bal Bulliere, where your father and I danced the tango. I always wear a colorful dress, and your father wears a grass green jacket, a sky blue waistcoat, and ruby red socks. Papa sure can dance. So we saw Papa over here. A green coat, blue waistcoat, and red socks. See, this is what, take a page turn. This is what it actually looked like, people dancing. And this is the artwork she made to look like it. Try to feel the colors and the music together, Sonia encouraged. When I painted Le Bal Bulliere, I tried to show everything, even things you might not think you can paint, such as the colors and the sounds of the movement. But I don't see Papa and you in the painting, said Charles. You don't need to see me, and you don't need to see Papa, or any of the other people either. In the painting, the colors are dancing. But, Mama, don't worry about understanding it now. Let's go where the colors take us. Eyes closed. The sun was so bright that Charles could barely open his eyes. He felt his skin grow hot. He squinted and saw a busy marketplace full of fruits and vegetables. And he heard people speaking words he didn't understand. Are we still in Paris, Mama? Not anymore. I've whisked you away to Portugal, to a town where your father and I lived when you were a baby. So see how the real marketplace looks. Now let's see how she paints it. We love to visit this market. The foods here are different from those we have at home, and so is the way the sunlight looks and feels. Sonia picked up a tomato. It was red and round. Look at how the light changes the color of the tomato from one side to the other. Charles saw that one half was brightened by the sun and the other, in shadow, was deeper, darker shade. When I made this painting, I tried to capture all of the light, shapes, and colors of this busy place. Charles looked hard. The shapes fit together like a puzzle. One of them even looks like a hat. So you can kind of see where she's interpreted some of the small details, but overall, here's the hat. This might be the tomato or a different fruit or vegetable, but overall, it doesn't look like the real thing, right? We have one last stop, Sonia said, as they blasted off in their colorful car. They zipped through the air. Charles felt the wind on his cheeks and watched the street lamps flicker in the city below. He saw bright colors in the shop windows. He smelled bread from a bakery, and he heard the whoosh of trains and other cars. All of his senses now swirled together. He was beginning to understand that what his mother meant when she said she could hear colors and feel them. So let's look at the city and let's see how it turns. Oh, not yet. We've just arrived in Amsterdam, Sonia said, at a store that sells the fabrics I design. So remember we talked about how she not only did art, but she turned her art into clothes. So this is the store where they have the fabrics for her clothes. Do you see, Charles, how we experience all these lights and colors and shapes and sounds that surround us at the same time or simultaneously? So things that happen at the same time. The big word that we used is simultaneously. Everybody say it, simultaneously. Simultaneously. So that means that it happened all at the same time. So you take the smell of the bakery, you take the sounds of the city, the colorful buildings, and then you feel it all into one piece of art or uh, fabric. I make designs for cars, furniture, and fabrics because besides being looked at, art can be driven, sat on, or worn. Art is all around us, always. Can you imagine wearing a poem or an idea? Sonia asked. In a pile of clothes, Sonia spotted a pair of silk pajamas printed with one of Sonia's bright, bold designs. I want to wear an idea, he said. Can I try them on? Ooh, I love seeing all those beautiful faces looking at the front screen. Charles pulled on the pajamas. The smooth, soft fabric slid over his skin. He felt weightless, as if he were floating. When he closed his eyes to think about all he had heard, seen, touched, and smelled, he imagined a rainbow of colors singing and dancing. So his pajamas are a rainbow of colors singing and dancing. Only that's the way it made them feel, and this is how it came out looking. It's getting late, warned Sonia, and tomorrow is another day with even more to discover. But Mama, I'm not sleeping yet. I have so many colors and sounds and ideas in my head. I'm glad that the world has color to cover it and keep it warm. Charles murmured dreamily, like a blanket. Now you know exactly what I mean, said Sonia, and she tucked him in and kissed him good night.
I hope you enjoyed learning about how Sonia Delaunay made her abstract art as well as her fashion ideas. I will see y'all soon.